Welcome back to another Bellator fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for Bellator 221, Chandler versus Pitbull. So without further ado, let's get into our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have in the heavyweight division, Jake Hager versus TJ Jones. So looking at this fight, you got a guy who pretty much thrown in there for Jake Hager to dispatch of. And that's pretty much all I can say for this fight. It's not really nothing to say about it. Jake Hager is a wrestler. He's going to take him down and submit him in probably the first round. So in this fight, I got Jake Hager via first round submission. Now on to our next fight. We have in the featherweight division a real big, interesting matchup right here. You got AJ McKee versus Pat Curran in the featherweight division. A lot on the line, probably a title shot. Both ride. Well, Pat Curran riding a 3-fight winning streak, and AJ McKee is undefeated, so he's on a 13-fight winning streak. So a lot on the line. And really the thing that jumps off the table to me off the jump is Pat Curran only been 31. So as long as I've been watching Bellator, I'm not saying I've been watching Bellator since the organization started, but I started watching it around 2011, 2012, something like that. And ever since I started watching, I think when I first started watching, Pat Curran was the featherweight champion. And that was way back then. And now it's been like basically almost 10 years and he's only 31. So I was saying basically 10 years. It hasn't been 10 years, so I think it's probably been about 7 years. But still, to be in the title picture that long, I think when he was around that title picture and was the champion, I think he was like 24, 25. And that's how old AJ McKee is now. And when I think about 31, that's really when you start to enter your prime. But maybe for Pat Curran, that might be when he's leaving his prime, given the fact that even back then and over his tenure in Bellator, he has been fighting nothing but the best. And he's fought like Daniel Strauss about, 4 times in his career? And not really easy fights. Those were all hard fights that take years off your career. For Pitbull about 3 times, and that last fight definitely took years off his career. And all the fights with Pitbull took years off his career. So those not no easy fights. So you really would pretty much fighting the best guys all the time, like really very often too. Not just like, oh, I fight like one good guy, then I'll take 2 years off or take a year off. He was fighting those guys like twice a year in hard fights, getting rocked, getting serious concussions, serious injuries, getting banged up. So, and another thing, he's been inactive for, and he fought in 2017, didn't fight in 2018, something like that. And I think he fought once in 2015, once in 2016, and once in 2017. So he's been a bit inactive, had some wars. Like I said, been inactive, had some wars that took some years off his career. But skill-wise, I think Pat Curran is one of the most skilled fighters in all of MMA. Solid wrestling, solid grappling, solid striking. But I think his chin has certainly diminished. He's been getting dropped a lot in these fights. But he's still a solid fighter nonetheless. I think he's by far the best fighter AJ McKee has. And I think AJ McKee, he's one of those fighters that's very skilled and upcoming, but he still has a lot of holes. And I think Pat Curran can exploit those. But I think the inactivity from Pat Curran and just how much of a budding prospect, budding contender now AJ McKee is, I think he's able to clean up some of those holes in his game. And maybe Pat Curran will exploit some things, but I think AJ McKee's youth will allow him to, recover from that, learn from that quickly mid-fight, make adjustments, and make it like kind of grind up older fighter. I'm not saying he's going to go out and take him down and just lay on him. It's going to be a fight where he's going to have to grit it out, take it further, and to where maybe Pat Curran can't take it anymore. Like I said, he's going to be a little bit rusty, a little bit worn, but kind of be the younger fighter, be the fresh fighter, especially being active as he is, and take him to a place really where Pat Curran can't really dig it as much. Just outwork him, use that speed, use that youth, use that bravado, use that physicality, because he's a very big. They're both real big featherweights, but ADP is big and youthful. I say he's a little bit more athletic than Pat Curran, especially get the fact that he's about 6 or 7 years younger. So I think a lot of stuff relies on AJ McKee's side. I think it's gonna come down to AJ McKee with his activity and his confidence in outworking Pat Curran. That's really what's gonna come down to. Maybe not being more technical than him, but more so outworking him. He'll have to come through overcome the technical side that Pat Curran has and the experience. But I think the grit and the being active, being young, is going to favor him. And I think AJ McKee kind of grits out a very tough fight against Pat Curran. And it's going to be the fight that's going to usher him up into that title picture. So gritty fight, but I got AJ McKee winning a tough fought decision. So again, in this fight, AJ McKee via decision. Now on to our co-main event. We have in the welterweight division, I think, the semifinals of Bellator's welterweight tournament, so I'm stuttering and messing up, but whatever case, a welterweight fight. We got former Bellator welterweight champion Douglas Lima versus Michael Page. And this might be the most interesting fight on this whole card right here, given how much hype is behind Michael Page and given how this is by far his biggest test ever, and coming off that performance against Simtek's Paul Daly, in which Paul Daly had a lot of success grappling him, which was a very odd fight. So a lot of people kind of leaning like this will be the fight that Michael Page loses. And I'm kind of leaning towards that as well. I kind of want Michael Page to win. I can see ways for him to win. But just giving off that the fact that when I'm predicting videos, I can't just pick off favorites and who I want to win. I got to pick off what's actually there and not try to pull out something, a rabbit out the hat. If I'm betting, I can do that. But if I'm predicting, I got to be straight up. And I think Douglas Lima is more so than just the best fighter he has ever fought inside MMA. He's the best. I mean, he's the worst style matchup for Michael Page. When we look at a lot of these like karate style or point fighter style, like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Raymond Daniels, in both of their respective sports and their competitions, we look at who beat them. They kind of lost to guys who had at least put an emphasis on leg kicks. And Douglas Lima is one of the best leg kickers in all of MMA. Definitely has some heavy, sharp leg kicks. He has solid boxing, solid striking, get on the inside. Kind of like what Nicky Hawkins did to what Raymond Daniels like 3 times. Kind of what Darren Till did a little bit to Stephen Thompson. And kind of what Pettis kind of a little bit did in some way against Stephen Thompson by attacking the leg kick that made him had to adjust his range to deal with Pettis' heavy leg kicks. But I think Douglas Lima has a style where he's going to pressure you, he's going to chop your legs up. And with that karate style, really all that defense in attack relies on their legs. Like their legs and their movement is their defense. So you got a guy that's going to chop your legs out. That's pretty much taking off your wheels. That's taking away your defense. And it kind of turns you to a sitting duck. Douglas Lima has that experience, has a heavy leg kicks, and he could chop those legs off of Michael Page. And maybe even if he wants to, he could go for grappling because Daly had a good success with the grappling. And I think Douglas Lima is a better grappler than Paul Daly. Really about anybody's a better grappler than Paul Daly. And he could definitely go that route if he wants to. But on Michael Page's side, I think Michael Page, what he brings is that maybe you have never seen by anybody that turned Paul Daly into a grappler. And that probably shows you how scary of a striker that Michael Page is, that he could turn somebody like Paul Daly, who has never ever turned into a grappler against anyone, but turned into a grappler against Michael Page. So that's really something right there to show you how scary and how good he's at manipulating range. And that could be ding. And also, unlike the other guys like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Raymond Daniels, Michael Page has a little bit of a boxing background now, with like 2 or 3 fights, has some training. So maybe he's not all of just that. He's a little bit more versatile, a little bit this, a little bit that. And just chopping his legs won't be the ultimate answer to beat him. But I think even if Douglas Lima doesn't even attack legs, he's still a tough fight for Michael Page. So when you add the leg kicks, plus his boxing, plus his heavy counters, he's already a hard fight for Michael Page. So kind of really just leaning to Douglas Lima in this fight. But Michael Page will have like a 77-inch reach or a reach advantage, or like a 6-inch reach advantage 5-inch reach advantage over Lima. I think Lima has a 72-inch reach. Michael Page has a 77-inch reach. Michael Page has the longer legs. I think Lima's about 6'1", and Page is about 6'3", so 2-inch height advantage, about a 5-inch reach advantage. And he's very good at using that stuff. But I think, like I said, I think Douglas Lima's style is kind of a bad matchup for Michael Page, chopping those legs out, taking away his wheels, which take away his defense, which affects his striking, and then cornering him, landing big shots. But it's going to be a very interesting fight here for sure. I think Michael Page will make it interesting, but I'm going to have to lead to Douglas Lima, just chopping the legs down, getting in on the inside, landing big shots, then maybe even mixing in some grappling to get the finish, because maybe Michael Page, even with his legs chopped, still a very hard guy to hit regardless. So maybe just chop his legs down, corner him, and get some takedowns, land some big shots, and then being forced to kind of go to the ground to get that finish with either ground or pound or submission. I'm going to say it's going to be more so of a submission after chewing his legs up in the first and second, then kind of corner him in the third, landing some big shots, get the takedown, and submit him in the third. So, interesting fight, but I got Douglas Lima via 3rd round submission. Now on to our main event. We have in the lightweight division, Michael Chandler versus Patricio Pitbull Freire. So we have a super fight right here. Lightweight champion Michael Chandler, like current lightweight champion Michael Chandler, versus Patricio Pitbull Freire, current featherweight champion. Chandler's lightweight titles on the line. These are 2 of the most accomplished fighters in all of Bellator history. Michael Chandler with 2-time, or maybe 3-time champion, lightweight champion at lightweight. I think Patricio Pitbull, a 2-time featherweight champion. So a real big fight. And there's a little bit of beef going on here, more so on Pitbull's side, because his brother lost to Chandler twice. And in the last fight, Chandler knocked his brother out cold in one of the biggest knockouts in Bellator history. So that more so the beef on Pitbull's side, trying to avenge his brother. Come up here. He's been winning that fight for a while now, and now he's finally getting it in a very interesting match with a lot on the line. But going to lean heavily to Chandler in this one due to the fact that I think Chandler just has a style where he doesn't really play with little people. A lot of people have these styles, these bigger guys leave this space for smaller guys to have opportunities, and Chandler really doesn't lose that because he's a big guy. He's a big wrestler. He has that pace. He can keep it. He's technical. He's not just a big guy that's big. He's a big guy that's big and technical and can push a pace, a wrestler who's not going to give those small guys those space to do what they want to do. I think Pitbull does have his opportunities with because he's very quick, has some very heavy hands. He hits like a heavyweight, even though he's a featherweight. Quick, very quick twitch, real strong too. Even though he's short in stock, he's very strong, very quick, very powerful. Like a little tank. He has a solid guillotine. So if Chandler goes for a takedown and isn't very mindful of that guillotine, it could be all she wrote. If Chandler tries to go for overcommit and land some big shot, try and go for a highlight reel knockout, he might end up on a highlight. But if Chandler fights smart, this should be his fight. But still going to be a exciting fight nonetheless because Pitbull never makes any fight easy for anyone. But I think Chandler could take the smarter route. Like I said, mixing his wrestling, take him down, be mindful of that guillotine, be mindful of those short shots because Fury has some very good short shots. Once he gets on his legs, get some takedowns. Chandler is very savvy at defending submissions, very savvy at just grinding out people and not really leaving any pockets for Fury to buck up back to his feet or transition. Just be very heavy on top, that wrestling grind, that wrestling pressure, landing a lot of ground and pound. It really just wear on Pitbull. And even on the feet, can mix in with Pitbull, use his height, use his reach. He might not be as fast as Pitbull. Chandler is more of a kind of explosive fighter, so he can kind of match that speed just a little bit where a lot of fighters can't because he has that athleticism to him. Pitbull's still going to be the faster fighter, but with Chandler's range, with his speed and explosiveness, and also the threat of his wrestling, he can strike with Pitbull and find opportunities there, which will allow him, he finds opportunities on the feet, which will allow opportunities on the ground for takedowns, and with the takedowns will allow opportunities on the feet is typically happen. Like when you have control of the wrestling, you control where the fight takes place, you can mix things up better, and that's going to be in Chandler's side. And also Pitbull's going to be a little bit angry in this fight because he's going to be trying to avenge his brother. I think Chandler can exploit all those things, get takedowns, and really grind him out. Not really allow him to have opportunities to really take the fight away, or really give him those opportunities to take the fight away, or turn the fight to his side, get the victory via submission or knockout. Really take those avenues away from Pitbull in this fight. I think he starts to grind him out, get some takedowns, be heavy on top, drop hard elbows, hard ground and pound, and really prevent Pitbull from breathing and having Pitbull had to carry his weight for a large majority of this fight. But like I said, I think Pitbull's gonna make it competitive. He'll probably gonna land some big shots, probably gonna have some submission attempts, but I think Chandler powers through all those, outgrinds him, outworks him, and really exploits him because Pitbull is still gonna be like the smaller fighter. And he's not like he's permanently moving up to 155. He's just going up there a little bit. So he's not really even a 155er in this fight because he's not really adjusting to be a 155er, like a permanent 155er. So the size is going to be there. It's really all going to play for Chandler because due to his style and what he presents. Like I said, I feel like Chandler's going to grind him out those first couple rounds and then break him down once he kind of tired from getting ground and pound and getting wrestled, getting hit with big shots on top and on the feet. And he starts to break Pitbull down in the third and gets him out of there in the fourth. I'm going to say it's going to be via TKO. So in this fight, I got Michael Chandler via 4th round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the main card of Bellator 221, Chandler versus Pitbull. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.